Welcome to the BNI Knox podcast, helping members in the Knoxville, Tennessee region grow their business and make more money through the power of referrals. Now, here's your host, Andy Brassfield.
And welcome back to another episode of the BNI Knox podcast. This is episode number 17, Networking Outside Your BNI Chapter. I'm your host, Andy Brassfield, along with my co-host,
Curtis Johnston.
And we're glad to have you back with us here today. I want to remind you that we are in Member Extravaganza.
Yes, right now.
How's it going at your chapter? Have y'all had your visitor days scheduled? And now listen, I know it's early. We're dropping this episode on March the 10th, so perhaps your chapter hasn't had a chance to do your visitor day yet, but you should at least be in your visitor day process, because it is a process. If you follow the system that BNI has laid out, it's actually an 8-week process.
That's true.
Yeah. And using the process just gives you step-by-step and helps to make it more successful. Yeah. So how's that coming along in your chapter? Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Now, speaking of March the 10th, Schmoozapalooza is coming up.
Coming up this week.
I like saying that.
Coming up?
No, Schmoozapalooza.
Yeah, I like that word too.
Schmoozapalooza. It's like Francisco. Francisco, that's fun to say. You remember that?
No.
From the movie Elf.
No, I didn't really like that movie.
Oh, I love it. I love it, yeah. Francisco, that's fun to say. Schmoozapalooza.
Fun to say.
Fun to say, yes. Hard to spell, but fun to say.
Yes.
Coming up March the 12th. So here's my deal. I have a confession to make.
I'm ready. Perfect place to do it.
I have to force myself to go to these kinds of events.
What?
I do.
You're a networker.
I am. I'm a professional networker.
Yes.
And yet, I have to psych myself up. When I get out of the car, and I straighten my tie, and I check
for the business cards.
I have my business cards in this pocket. I'm going to put their business cards in that pocket.
My Lucky Strikes over here.
And, and I might even have a booth. A lot of times we have a booth at these. Yeah. And so, but I have to psych myself up because, well, it's not I don't know. There's something,
you just don't get energy from it.
I don't, yeah. It's sort of, I've heard a lot of talk about introverts and extroverts. Yeah. So it takes energy from me to go to one of these events.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
And so I walk around the room and I'm like, I know what I need to be doing.
Right.
And I can do it.
Right.
But I need a plan. Okay. So this is what we want to talk about today. Networking outside of your BNI chapter.
Love it.
So by comparison, when you go to BNI chapter to network, it's structured. Now listen, I'm at home at a BNI chapter.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Do I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to be at the BNI meeting over in Johnson City?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm getting up at 5:30. I'm getting dressed and I'm driving and I'm all excited. I walk in the door. I stand out front and I'm the greeter.
Now, why is it easier for you in a BNI chapter as opposed to Schmoozapalooza where there are hundreds more people?
It's probably a mindset thing.
Okay.
If I had to guess, like I said, it may be that I'm a closet introvert.
Okay.
But I know that mindset does a lot. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And when I'm with my people, that has a lot to do with it. When I'm with my people, I'm comfortable.
Yes, and the structure may make you comfortable.
The structure.
Yeah.
So going into a non-BNI networking event, Schmoozapalooza, other Chamber of Commerce deals.
Oh, yeah. The Chamber of Commerce have got some, obviously they're putting on Schmooza, but the Knoxville, Loudoun County, Anderson County, Sevier County, Blount County, there's chamber events everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's important to use the skills that you've learned in BNI, like your 45-second or your 60-second elevator speech, to be able to walk into one of these coffee places and say, hey, I'm Curtis Johnston, I'm with Gallagher & Associates, this is what we do, et cetera, et cetera. But you learn that in BNI where you're comfortable, where most people are comfortable, and then when you get out of your comfort zone, you've already got the mentality, you know what's about to come out.
Yeah.
So that's where I would start.
And you've probably heard this, find your comfort zone and stay out of it.
Yes, I have heard that one. That's a good one.
You got to get out of your cave. See, that's the thing. For me, I like to say that this is my experience. The magic happens when I get out there with the people. And when I talk about the magic, I'm talking about referrals. I'm talking about relationships.
The connections.
Yeah. And like I've gone to events where you've been. Mm-hmm. Not that we went together, but I show up at Schmooze and you're there, right? And you've walked me over to people and introduced me.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And man, that's when the magic happens.
That's right.
And I get their business card and
yeah.
So
the connections.
How can we help our members to be more effective and comfortable even at these non-BNI events?
Okay.
So what kind of strategies do you have?
That's a good question. When I first started out, when I was a younger, thinner, less gray individual, that was on episode 15, I always would set the baseline for myself very low, very obtainable, but very low. And Betty Sisko, the president of the chamber in Farragut, years ago, used to say, meet two people you haven't met. That was her go-to line. You don't have to worry about finding that elephant in the room. I don't have to find 6 or 7 people or land that big company. You just find 2 people you haven't met, and that totally takes the pressure off what you're doing.
Okay, so you're saying start out with a goal.
Correct.
A very achievable goal.
Right.
And listen, I don't want to discount and say 2 people is a low bar.
Right.
Because my bar for going in to such an event is typically 3.
Okay.
For me personally, if I walk out of there with 3 solid connections.
Yeah.
Now, understand I'm qualifying my goal by saying solid connections.
Okay.
All right?
Which will be different for everybody.
It's going to be different.
Good point.
Going to be different for everybody. So for me, a solid connection is we had a conversation.
Right.
I got their business card or their contact information.
There's some next steps involved.
And perhaps some next steps.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to call you next week.
Yeah.
Or we're going to go and have coffee together.
Right.
Or I got your permission to put you on my email newsletter list.
Perfect. Anything like that.
Whatever it is.
Right.
Solid. So for me, I want 3. And here's the thing. I like a follow-up, you see. So what if we flip the table a little bit? What if we went in with a grandiose idea of, I got to meet as many people as I can meet. I got to get business cards from as many people as I can get.
Yeah.
I got to make as many connections as I can get. And you walk out of this place with a handful, a pocket full of business cards. Now what?
Well, you got to follow up with them.
You got to follow up with them.
That was just the beginning.
Because, listen, you go to these events and you meet people, you make connections. If they never hear from you again, then you wasted your time.
Correct.
So what kind of follow-up system do you employ here? And then we're going to get back to the event itself. I want to talk a little bit more about follow-up.
All right, so you meet somebody, let's say at your kid's ball game or the Cars and Coffee or an open house for a real estate company, and you pass the cards around, great, I'll follow up, these sounds wonderful. Either, in my world, within 24 hours, I'm emailing them, great to connect with you, here's my contact card. I'll take my V card, which I've got stored in my phone and in my Outlook, and I'll attach that so it's totally easy for them to just import it into their contacts. So that's the first thing that I do. And typically that starts a conversation back and forth of, oh, I remember, yeah, sounds good, and then that coffee is set up. So that's what I do first, and then the coffee.
So you personally email them within 24 hours? Within
24 hours. If you go, I'll tell you, if you go longer than 3 days, they've forgotten you.
Yeah.
So
and now it was a wasted effort.
Correct. You've wasted your time. Mm-hmm. You wasted your time. And yeah. So if you do an event, say on a Thursday, and you don't follow up with them on Friday, you wait for the weekend, I'll get back there on Monday. That's not good. By then they've forgotten who you are and the email will be dismissed. Mm-hmm. It's also important if you put something in the email relative to the conversation you just had.
Yes, absolutely. If we talked about honeybees and swarms, put that in your email.
Yes.
I'll call you if I get any swarms in my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Include a link about bees. Put a picture of honey in there. I mean, do something that separates you from...
back in the old days, my CPA would email me articles that were like relative to my industry.
Really?
But yeah, he would cut them out of the newspaper. We're talking a while back.
This was a while back.
Yeah, cut them out of the newspaper, put them in an envelope, and mail them to me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd be like, dude,
Yeah.
what? This is wild.
I could do the same thing. I could print out my Twitter feed and then cut it and mail it to you if that would make you feel better. Maybe we get closer at that point.
Yeah. I think. So a relative link.
Yes.
Yes, is definitely helpful. So what about those who, sort of like me, okay, walk into an event, and I just want to use as the example the Smoozapalooza.
Sure.
Okay, but it could be a PTA meeting, it could be choir practice, it could be whatever.
Right.
Okay, a ball game. What about those of us who walk into these and everybody is a stranger?
Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
How do I start?
How do I start here? What do I do?
This goes into more of a personal brand, I guess, than anything else. But I always compliment people. I compliment strangers up front because it makes them feel good. So I would say, I like your hair, I like your glasses, nice tie. I have a jacket just like that.
Well, but listen, what if I think you're a creep complimenting me like that?
Then you move to somebody else. And if I had a nickel for every creep I appeared to be, I wouldn't have to do this podcast anymore.
Yeah. How about this? That's great. That's a good start. Compliment people. So
Yes.
Open up a conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. I like to break it down as well as I like a smile and eye contact.
Yes, even better.
Let's start with eye contact and a smile.
Yes.
Because how many times do we now listen? I know we're going to if we're going to a networking event, that's one thing. But if we're going to a baseball game, that's totally different, right? At a networking event, don't you expect people to walk up to you?
You really do.
And shove their hand out and hey, how you doing? This
correct.
Introduce. You sort of expect that. Now, everybody doesn't do that though. A lot of people go to these networking events. They're waiting on somebody to reach out to them.
True.
Sometimes that's me. Sometimes I'm the one that's waiting on somebody to reach out to me. But because of what I do, I know that they expect me to be that person. Yeah. I'm going to step up and do it, even if on the inside I'm saying I'd rather be at home.
In a swarm of bees.
In a swarm of bees. Right. Okay. Eye contact.
Yes.
Smile.
Stay off your phone.
Yes.
Don't look at your feet.
Quit looking at your phone. Don't and you know there's something free at every table. That's fine, but have an open hand for handshakes. Have your business cards in one pocket and their business cards in a different pocket.
Good one.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. How about we take some of the parallels from BNI and apply it to a networking event?
Okay.
Such as visitor host. What is a visitor host supposed to do at a BNI meeting?
Make people feel welcome.
Make people feel welcome. Stand out by the front door.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and act like a visitor host. You know, I did that at a chamber.
That's a good idea.
I did that at a chamber meeting in Johnson City, where I didn't know anybody,
right?
Except I think there might have been one or two BNI members that showed up. I'm not forgetting about you, but outside of that, I didn't know anybody, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to establish some connections in Johnson City, and I went to their Chamber of Commerce meeting, and there's hundreds of people there.
Really?
Yeah, and so I found everybody had to exit down this one hall, and they had tables on both sides to where it created a funnel. Guess where I stood?
The funnel.
I stood at the front of the funnel.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And everybody who left there had to pass by me wearing my BNI name badge. I hit the microphone. I hope y'all didn't hear that. I'm wearing my BNI name badge, and I'm standing out, and everybody that walks by, eye contact, smile, reach out my hand. I hope y'all had a great time. Right? And
That's
guess what
fantastic.
happens? Guess what happens? Some people shake the hand, smile, and keep going.
Right.
But some people stop and they engage.
I like it.
Okay? So this brings me around to what were our goals?
Our goals were to meet 2 or 3 people we've never met.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a solid connection.
Yeah.
So what about those people that pass on by?
Let them go.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to go in and you don't have to work the whole room.
That's right.
And there was a thing there for a while about working a room, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I could go around and shake
Collect all the cards.
and get all the cards. Yeah. You don't have to do that unless you want to.
Just make those 2 or 3 really good connections.
And if you want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't always want to. I'd be okay standing by the front door as people come in or go out.
Smart idea.
Hey, appreciate you. Yeah, you know what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now is next time you go to a networking event, you're going to have half the people standing by the front door.
Exactly. Great idea. They'll create a receiving line on the end of the funnel. It's a perfect idea.
I don't know what we're going to do then. But until then, this is the idea I'm going with.
I like that idea.
I pretend to be a visitor host. Now, I'm not being deceitful. I'm just greeting people.
Yeah.
Got my name badge on. All right, they know who I am.
Yeah.
Just greeting people. Some of them will talk, some of them won't. That's okay.
Yeah, but in the path of traffic, it's a great idea.
Yeah. Here's another thought. What about when you're at an event and there's somebody there what's gonna happen? You're gonna gravitate to that person.
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna go to the people that you know. Why? Because you're
Comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, that's important. It helps to build up the relationship between the two people, between you and you're building a relationship here.
Right.
But you don't want to stay there the whole time.
I would not.
So be careful about that.
Right.
How about you offer to introduce people? What if there's other people around?
Yes.
Offer to introduce. Hey, do you know the coach of the team?
Yeah.
My kid plays on the team here. Do you know the coach?
Yeah, there you go.
Let me introduce you.
Yeah.
How about there's somebody over there I know. Let me introduce you.
If you're going to go to a coffee event, you could actually go with your friend with the intentionality of we're going together.
Yeah,
and let's go
wingmen.
meet people. Exactly.
Wingmen. Yeah. I like that.
Idea.
I like that. That's really good. And so here's the deal. Set a goal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Define for yourself what your goal is, what your solid connection
Correct.
is. So if you're using solid connection as a goal, do that.
Yeah.
Be comfortable with the fact that you don't know everybody and you're not going to meet everybody in the room today.
That's okay.
It's all right.
That's right.
Yeah. Understand the long game. What is the long game here?
Make the connection, get referrals down the road.
Down the road.
Yep.
So do we go into a networking event with the idea of selling to somebody that's there?
I would not pitch at an event. I don't think that's a good idea.
No pitches. Unless it's a baseball game.
Exactly.
No pitches at a networking event or a coffee or a PTA or choir practice.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
Keep those, not at all. How about referrals? How about testimonials? How about connections? Yes.
Sure.
Why? Because that's giving.
That's right.
That's giving. How about handing out my business card? That's giving?
That's giving.
Well, I don't recommend it though.
Why is that?
Because if you're handing out your business card to everybody, first of all, you're cheapening your business card. You're reducing the value.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. What happens to the value? Supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
So if you're handing out your business card to everybody receives it. Who the heck is this Andy guy? And what are they going to do? They're going to chunk it.
Got it.
So I keep my business cards tucked away in my pocket, and I treat them like they are $10 bills.
Okay. Okay.
I'll be glad to give you one of my $10 bills if you'll simply ask for it. But you have to ask for it first.
So you don't do the automatic exchange. Hi, Amanda, here's my card.
I don't do the automatic, hi, here's my card.
Yeah.
But I might do an automatic, hey, can I have one of yours?
Yeah.
But that has to come after we've established a connection.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you, what do you do? Where do you work? What brings you here today?
Yes.
What are you looking for here? I mean, why are you here at this? If it's a networking event, that's a fair question. What are you looking to get out of today?
Sure.
Are you a member?
Yeah.
How long? What do you do? Why?
Yeah, put the focus on them. Good.
Ask a lot of questions. Oh, asking questions is the thing.
Yeah. I agree.
Ask a lot of questions and finish with, hey, can we connect sometime? Could I get one of your business cards?
There you go.
Now, I've got one of your business cards. My $10 business card is in my pocket still.
Right.
I've got yours. Do I really need you to have my business card now that I've got yours?
Well, you don't.
I don't. Why? It's because I'm going to reach out to you.
The ownership is on you now.
I'm going to email you because I got your business card.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you because I got your business card.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you got mine or not? But when I ask you for yours, what's the natural reaction to that going to be?
I'll ask you for yours.
Yeah, you're going to want mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, okay, you want $10? I'll give you $10. You asked for it. I mean,
That's right.
I reach in my pocket and give you one of mine.
There you
Okay.
go.
So this is just some ideas for networking at a
Outside the BNI meeting.
outside of your BNI meeting. Just some ideas for networking. Because listen, we're always networking, and I like to say, this is a whole nother podcast. We're not going to go always prospecting. Always prospecting. No matter where you are, you should always be prospecting. And listen, we're all out of time. I want to shout out to our sponsors, Mike Fuller Realty.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and to Front Porch Media, Darren Cooper. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Yes, sir. You're rocking it out. And I'm Andy Brassfield.
Curtis Johnston.
And we'll see you next time on the BNI Knox podcast.